Hello everyone, how y'all doing today? Hope you're all having a good Monday. I am Fizzer. I am the creator of the game Warzone. We're going to be here talking some Warzone today. We're going to be going over all of the new updates. So version 5.33 just came out recently, a few days ago. I'm also going to be answering questions. We have the whole forum thread here with a bunch of questions from the community we're going over. And if you're here live watching this in Twitch, feel free to ask your questions in Twitch chat. And I'll be answering your questions if you have any that are worthy of answering. So I've been working on this game Warzone for like 17 years now, something like that. It's been a long time. That's what I do, and I hope to continue working on this game the rest of my life. So let's get into it. So just a few days ago, we had version 5.33 come out. This is an update that had some stuff. One thing in particular that I've been looking forward to for a long time, something I've been wanting to do. We'll get to that. But first, I'm going to talk about Clan Rumble. This is a new clan competition. This is something I threw in. This is pretty much an easy thing to throw in that I've been wanting to do for a while. We have a Clan Wars competition, but that's more strategic, like 1v1s and 2v2 games. For a while, I've been wanting to do a bigger clan competition, like an FFA competition, let's put it, although it's not really a free-for-all. So Clan Rumble, what is it? It's a big, up to 400 player game. Anyone that's in a clan can join it. And then what's going to happen is up to 5 people from each clan can join it. And what's going to happen is when the game starts, it's going to team everyone that's on the same clan together. You like the idea of Clan Rumble being multi-day and separate from Clan Wars? Yeah, I'll talk more about that in a minute. But what's going to happen is, so you're going to have teams of 5, and then it's just a normal mega game that is worth 3,000 coins to the winning team. Yeah, so I was thinking about, I had an idea originally to make this worth points towards your clan war. Ultimately, I decided not to do that, just because I feel like it's a very different beast, because it's kind of a free-for-all game. There's lots of teams. I don't know if it's appropriate to call it a free-for-all. I don't know what the right term is, because free-for-all usually means there's no teams. But a game with lots and lots of teams is kind of like a free-for-all, because you have to, like, you know, it's kind of like a diplomacy game in some ways, because you gotta be diplomatic with your neighbors and work together and make alliances and backstab people, and you know, that kind of game. So yeah, there's 5 people, up to 5 people per clan. You can see already lots and lots of people have joined it. Annoyingly, this thing is not sorted by clan, so it's hard to tell like how many of your clanmates have joined. Ideally it should, but it does not currently. So, but yeah. And then there's a few things about this that I will reveal on this stream that I haven't revealed anywhere else. They're pretty minor things, which is why I didn't bother to put them like in the blog post. For example, if you join this game and then leave your clan before it starts, you might be wondering what happens. Well, what happens is you will get kicked from the game. There's a special logic in there that says, well, if you're not in a clan, I don't know what team to put you on, so we'll just kick you out. I mean, it's a rare case, shouldn't ever actually happen. But if it does happen, that's what'll happen. Now, if you leave your clan after the game starts, that's totally fine, because it only checks your clan at the time when the game starts. Oh, another special thing about this game, the game will start 4 days after it was created, which is coming up here. It's most of the time when you have a mega game, like a 400 player game like this, it'll start when it fills up. And this game will also start if it fills up. But if it doesn't fill up, within 4 days it will start. When was it created exactly? It was created on Valentine's Day, 3 p.m. my time zone, which is like, wait, is that today? 1, 2, 3. No, it'll be tomorrow. So it starts in about 24 hours, or about 27 hours from now, a little more than a day from now. So if you haven't joined it yet, you should join it within the next day. There's no downside to joining it. It's just a game. If you lose, no big deal. You didn't lose anything, except maybe your pride. But yeah, so feel free to join, and maybe you can bring home the 3,000 coin prize. One other edge case I had to deal with was another thing somebody might think they can do is to join with a clan. So if you try to, if a 6th person from any particular clan tries to join, it won't let them join. They click join game and it'll give them an error message saying basically telling them they can't join. The error message doesn't tell you about the clan limit. Unfortunately, it's not that smart. It just tells you that you don't meet the prerequisites, because there's a hidden open seat prerequisite on this game that enforces the 5 clan member limit. One thing that a sneaky person might think they can do is if they join and then they switch clans to a clan that has already 5 members in the game, then it will look like there are 6 players from that clan in this game. And technically there are 6 players in the lobby, but it won't work, because what will happen when the game starts, it checks how many people are on each clan. And if there's more than 5, it'll just kick a random person. It'll kick people until there's down to 5. So it won't work. You can't exploit it that way. So it should be a fun time. I think that's all I have to say about that. Let's answer some questions. Can we make it where we can throw out dig sites? Why would you want to throw out a dig site? When doing multiple levels at the same time, could you allow dig sites to combine so you always have a dig site available? I'm having a... Oh, you mean like if you're in the middle of digging on a dig site, you change your mind? You want to just stop? Is that what you mean by throw out? When doing multiple levels, dig sites to combine so you always have a dig site to be available. I'm having a hard level in Europe right now, and a hard level has 0 available mines, and Europe has 20 plus. The auto dig doesn't pick up the Euro dig sites. Why do you need to have the smelter to access market? Okay, one question at a time. You're doing a hard level on Europe right now, and the hard level has 0 mines, and Europe has 20. So like you can't get enough money on your Europe level? Is that what you're trying to say? To start a dig site? I don't know what you mean when you say the auto dig doesn't pick up Euro dig sites. Is that just because you don't have enough money to start them? Is that what the problem is? I'm not sure I completely understand what you're trying to say. Your next question, why do you need to have the smelter to access the markets? I believe that's just because they share the same tab. Is that right? I believe that's the answer. I don't remember off the top of my head. What if I can't? Oh, no. Does Fizzer have a wife? Yes. Any updates on the lawsuit? None that I can share, unfortunately. So the lawsuit against Activision, the only thing I can say about it is stuff I've said previously, which is it's still going, and we're scheduled for a trial in May. Unfortunately, I'm not allowed to share any particular knowledge. Hello, you made a great game. Thank you. I'm glad you enjoy the game. Thank you for your nice words. You should also make it so you can end chats or game rule that allows so. Oh, edit chats. Edit chats or a game rule that allows so. Yeah, edit chats would be interesting. Maybe like a time. You're talking about in-game chats? So that's a feature you could, if you want to, you can submit it to the feature request form. Let's talk about this. We're going to talk about this every stream. So if you go to the forum section, there's a feature requests forum. This is the official place to request basically changes from me. This is your way to influence what you want me to work on. You can come in here and you can vote on the things you want me to do, or if what you want me to do isn't on here, you can create it and add your own thing, add a new idea. In the last update, we did a whole bunch of things from this list. We'll be talking about those. Throw out the epic ones. I'm not sure I understand why you'd want to cancel a dig site. You just want to get rid of them so like they're not on the list so you don't have to look at them. Will the settings of these clan rumbles stay the same, or will they have different settings every game? The map will be different every game, but the settings, like the cards and stuff, are not. But the map will be different. The distribution mode will be the default for the map. How do you join Clan Rumble? If you go to the Open Games page, you will find it in this list, and then you just click on it and click Join. It also should be advertised. I think it'll be advertised on your My Games page too. But it references the map with 0 dig sites. Oh. Auto dig should work on every level you're in. You can make AIs have varying levels of difficulty. That's an interesting feature. You could submit that to the feature request form. Currently, the AI is the highest difficulty, so if you asked for this feature, you would have worse AIs. If you're expecting the AI to get better, that's a different feature request. You can make a feature request to also spend time to working on the AI to make it smarter or better. That is a valid feature request as well. But if you just want varying levels of difficulty, then my interpretation of that would be the current level is the highest, and then you have basically dumber levels. I'm not sure we really need that, to be honest, but maybe, I don't know, maybe some people want it. Random idle question. Do you think we could change clan requests so they could be partially filled as opposed to all or nothing? Sometimes I've got 3 billion armies to throw away at the end of my level, but not enough to fill a larger request. Yeah, I don't have any problems with that. That's another thing you could submit to the feature request form. If enough people wanted it, I could see it happening, but doesn't seem super high priority to me. That's just my initial reaction. Where do we go? Is it possible to specifically place where players start at the beginning of the game? Yes, that's a feature called custom scenarios. It is a feature that has to be unlocked with either levels, or you can buy the Mega Strategy Pack to get it immediately. But if you come into change distribution settings, there's this button right here called custom scenarios. Then you have the custom scenario builder, which you come in here and just set exactly where you want each person to start. That's what custom scenarios are. Real-time tournament with Fizzer today? I'm streaming. I'm pretty busy today. Can we have just players join a secondary clan and then change clans to artificially inflate the number of players in the game, so when they all get booted, there are drastically less players in the game and the remaining clans have less competition? Can someone have players join a secondary clan and then change clans to artificially inflate the number of players in the game? I mean, you have to be in the clan. You're only screwing up the clan you're in. So if it's an open clan, then yeah, you can probably sabotage an open clan, unfortunately. Yeah, there maybe needs to be a solution to that. Maybe it should, I don't know. I don't know what the solution to that is, but if that becomes a problem, we might have to make a solution to that. If you're worried about that, then don't have an open clan while the clan rumble is starting. It's only a 4-day period. So close your clan if you're worried about that. This might be me, but I would love to be able to filter open games by features. For instance, I'm in the mode for a commerce game. Let's just see just the commerce games. Yeah, I do see the value in that. I think that's a good idea. I think there's already a feature request for that. Filter community levels. That's not what you're asking for. Filter open games filter. There is a request for that. It currently has 4 votes, which is not very many. Each person can put up to 3 votes towards a thing, so only 2 people have voted for it. So that's why it hasn't happened. If it got enough votes, I would do it. Will we be able to watch the trial online, or do you not know yet? I don't know. I've never been through a trial before. I don't know how that actually works. Yeah, I actually don't know the answer. What do I mean by throw out the dig sites is if I use auto dig, I don't want to waste 14 hours for a dig site is 97% for. I see. You want more influence over auto dig. Yeah. Sure. So you could add that to the feature request form. I've been around since 2011. May I ask you why you changed the name from Warlight to Warzone? So Warzone was the sequel to Warlight. Basically, the game was rewritten from scratch, and it was a whole bunch of features were added, and we changed the name just because, honestly, I like the name better. And it was to emphasize that it's a new thing. Mod hook for custom scenario builder win is not currently something that I'm working on, so I don't have any dates to announce. Gotta run. Thanks for the updates. You're welcome. Thanks for stopping by. Hey, Fizzer, I want to ask, how does Warzone determine the location of the player? Yes, so you're talking about on the public profile where it says here where they play from, and it is determined based on your IP address. We use a database called MaxMind that will take any IP and tell you its location. Okay, so let's talk about, we talked about Clan Rumble already. Let's talk about custom fogs. This is something I've been wanting to do for many, many years. This is something that the mod creators have been requesting. So this is the ability for mods can now override the fog levels. And I'll give you a little demonstration here. So there's going to be a new mod that I will publish very soon. Hold on, I have a template. Called the Smoke Bomb card. So also, next up, previous update, if you haven't been paying attention to the previous update added custom cards. You can see here you can actually have new types of cards, and there's These are created by mods, so there's no limit to how many types of cards we can have now. We could have a game with thousands of cards that do all sorts of crazy stuff. But this particular one I'm showing off is the Smoke Bomb, because that one allows you to basically hide territories. So I can come in here and I can be like, I want to play this on South China. I play a Smoke Bomb there, and then I finish my turn as normal. And then in the next turn, you can see everything adjacent to South China is now fogged. Not just for me, but for everyone. That's what this card does. So this card, again, is just an example card I created to show off the feature. Mod creators are going to do all sorts of crazy stuff. This is just one very simple example showing that you can modify fog. So this is a light fog game, but you can see these territories over here are fully fogged now for one turn. That's what the example mod I made does. So yeah, mod creators can do all sorts of crazy stuff with fog. You can even make teammates have different views. You could give one teammate a view of something and another teammate another view, which is something that's never been possible before. You can do all sorts of crazy stuff. You can make things less visible, like in this example. You can make things more visible. So in a full fog game, you can make things fully visible or even just up to light fog. You can even hide players' territories from themselves, which is really weird. But it's possible. There's nothing stopping mod creators from doing that. So this is the code for the Smoke Bomb card. I won't go over the code because I know most people watching this are not coders. But there's this priority number that you can set. The Smoke Bomb card uses 7,000, which basically means the Smoke Bomb card itself will not be able to hide a player's territories from themselves, just because that's how the mod is coded. But there would have been nothing stopping me if I set this to 10,000, then the Smoke Bomb card would hide territories from their own owner. And the reason I didn't is because that gets kind of dangerous. If you hide territories from themselves, you can actually break a game. And I could give an example. I actually can't get a bonus here, but let's pretend I have a bonus, or here, I'll get a bonus. So I have this bonus, West Russia. If a mod were to come in here and hide a territory from myself, let's say they made it so I couldn't see Southwest Russia, you could break a game, because what would happen is my client thinks I do not have West Russia if this was hidden from myself. But the server still knows I have it. So my client would not prompt me to deploy these 9 armies. It would only prompt me to deploy 5. And then what would happen is when I try to commit, the server would be like, hey, you're not deploying your 9 armies, and it would reject my orders and prevent me from being able to commit, which is a problem. It basically means, I guess the whole game's not broken, it just is, I would have to get booted. So as a mod author, you have to be very careful when hiding players' territories from themselves, but you can do it. I did not restrict mods from doing that. There's also a whole lot of other ways that mods can break the game with custom fog that I outlined in the wiki. So if you're a mod developer, you should go read the wiki page and make sure you follow the rules so you don't break the game. But yeah, there's no safety. There's no safety if you use high priorities. Sincerely, thank you for your great job. You're welcome. Thank you for the kind words. I'm glad you enjoy the game. Did the board game Risk give you the idea? I did play a lot of Risk as a kid, and I do think parts of this game are inspired by Risk. Yes. I see the name of the territories contain the territory ID. Can we have this too? It helps the mod dev cases. Oh yeah, that's a special thing I do for myself, because sometimes I'm debugging issues and I put the territory ID. Usually I don't show that on stream, but I think oh, this is my development server. That currently only works on the development server. So unfortunately, I can't give that to you right now, but maybe in a future update. Dutchman, your forced local deployment card mod is ace. There doesn't seem to be any easy mechanism to get it in use. When creating a game on card settings, could you add an estimate to the frequency of the maps, taking into account the players defined in the teams? When creating a game on card settings, can you add an estimate of the frequency of the maps? Take into account the number of players defined in teams. I'm not sure what you're talking about, to be honest. Maybe you could reword it. I will update someday. Use custom cards, a custom feature request. Cool. Number of the cards. When creating a game on card settings, could you add an estimate to the frequency of the cards, taking into account the number of players to find in the game? That would be very useful. So are you talking about team games? Because other than team games, I don't understand how the number of players would affect the frequency of the cards. Due to Warlight, I made custom cards to add to my dual world risk sets for table play. Cool. I'd like to see a picture of that. That sounds cool. Can a Diplo be a game setting with an icon? I know there's no game difference between a Diplo and a regular game, but it would be nice to see at a glance if I'm going to roleplay in chat, because that is whack. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. I've actually never heard that suggested. Currently, we just key off the name, right? You put Diplo in the name. One of the problems with that is a lot of people have different opinions about what it means to be a diplomacy game. And I'm not sure the icon would be appropriate. Maybe, I'm not sure. I don't know. I'd be interested in hearing more people's opinions about what they think about that setting. You could create it on the feature request forum and we could see what people say. It'd be an interesting discussion. Hi, great updates still being worked on after... Great to see that updates are still being worked on after so many years. Indeed, thank you. I hope to never stop updating the game. So the two things we went over, Custom Fog and Clan Rumble, those are the big headlining features for this update. Honestly, this was kind of a smaller update. That's kind of okay. It will probably be a shorter stream today. But there are a whole bunch of other things to go on in this list. These are more of the nitty-gritty details, smaller things. So like this one is Mega Games now show the number of active players on the My Game page. This was something somebody asked for in the feature request forum. And you can see like this game now says 8 out of 400. So this mega game with a number / a number now means something different depending on whether it's an in-progress game or a game that's still in the lobby. So this game is a mega game that's still in the lobby. And so it's saying that 195 people have joined out of a possible 400. Whereas this game has already started. You can see it's on turn 139. And so now it means something different. This is telling you there are 8 people left alive out of 400 people who joined the game. So this one will change. So when it starts after 4 days, which is tomorrow, the 400 will go away. The number, if it were to start right now, it would say 195 out of 195. And then the first number would go down as people get eliminated or surrender. So just a little thing to make this easier for you to see how many people are left. I wanted to suggest a way for AI to play a gift card. A player could request AI teammate to play a gift on AI territory. Could help times when teammate becomes AI unexpectedly. Yeah, that's an interesting idea. So normally I'm not too keen on the idea of commanding AIs. Like a lot of people have suggested, I want to command my AI to attack a specific territory or deploy in a specific territory. It's never been a feature I've liked that much, but this would actually, I think, is better than those because you have a limited number of gift cards. And it doesn't help the AI. It really is more about helping you. So that's slightly better. So this is something you could add to the feature request form if you'd like to see that happen. Maybe if enough people vote for it, we can do that. The seasonal ladder length is increased from 60 to 65 days. So I don't want to see the seasonal ladder get too long. I like it being relatively short so people don't have to wait too long for the next season to start. But I was willing to increase it by 5 days. This is something somebody asked for on the forum. So I increased it by 5 days. One of the good things about this is if the seasonal ladder ends while games are still in progress, they end up having a forced finish, which is a bad thing. You don't want to. You want to minimize the number of times you have a forced finish in the seasonal ladder. You want to give people time to finish their game naturally. So we'll see how this does. We'll evaluate how many forced finishes happen in the seasonal ladder from before this change to after this change, and to evaluate if further action is needed or if maybe this wasn't needed at all. If it doesn't help at all, we can roll it back. I don't know. We'll see. Any chance you'll create an API that gives the full map details back? SVG plus bonus plus connections. I know that the SVGs are not technically licensed for this, so I'm guessing no. So there's already an API that gives all the bonus and connections. The only thing the API doesn't give is the SVG file, and I think that's not appropriate to give out. I think if You want the SVG file, you just ask the creator for it. And if the creator wants to give it to you, they can. If they don't want to give it to you, well, then you probably shouldn't have it. When exporting a game to YouTube, the videos now have a legend in the top right corner that shows each player's name and color. It's just something I realized was needed because when you're watching a video, you don't know who's who, especially if it's a team game, you don't know who's on whose team. So that's a good thing to have. I noticed the legend's a bit too small. I'm probably going to make it bigger in the next update. When you get auto-committed, so this is something that every once in a while I get a mail from someone who was like, who didn't understand auto-commit. Basically, they were playing a game, so let's go over what auto-commit is first. If you're in the middle of playing a multiplayer game and you're about to get booted, if you enter some orders, I'm going to show single player even though it's I'm really talking about multiplayer here. So it's just, if you enter some orders, like let's say I start deploying and then I issue one attack and then for some reason I don't hit commit and I walk away from the game, I just close it. Maybe I get interrupted or something, I don't know what happened, but for some reason I started taking my turn, didn't finish it. Basically these 3 orders that I entered, these deploys and these attacks, will be sent to the server. And the server has them. And if I were to get booted, if I just walk away from the game and never commit my turn, what used to happen is you would just get booted and you would be kicked out of the game. All your territories would turn neutral and you'd be gone. But auto-commit is a feature that saves you from boots. So what will happen is the server's like, well, this person entered 3 orders. I have those orders, so instead of booting them, I'll just use their orders, even though they didn't click the commit button. That's what auto-commit is. Now, one of the problems with auto-commit is if you don't fully deploy, if you do to enter orders, like let's say I only deploy 8 of my 12 armies here, or I could even be stupid and play a reinforcement card and only deploy 8 of my 17. Technically, the server has these orders, and they could boot you, or they could just use these orders. And so instead of booting you, my position is, hey, it's better to use the orders we have. And so it will enter your orders, even if they don't fully deploy all your income. You could even deploy nothing. If you just enter attacks and no deployments, it will do your attacks and deploy nothing. And so what would happen is the player would come back the next turn. They'd click watch turn and they'd be like, what the heck, I didn't deploy anything, or I didn't deploy all my armies. How is that possible? Because normally you can't commit unless you deploy all your armies. And so they'd be really confused, and then they mail me and they're like, what the heck happened? There's some kind of glitch in the game. You can see I didn't even deploy all my armies this turn. That's weird. Or sometimes they'd see their teammate didn't deploy all their armies and they can be confused about what's happening. So to fix that, you now get a message. If you come back to a game where this happened to you, you'll get a little pop-up that says, you were auto-committed in this turn. We use your orders to save you from a boot. It may not have deployed all your armies. It's just a message so that you know what happened. That's all it is. Just to clear up confusion so people are not confused. You can't do a local deployment game on a map with overlapping bonuses. Is that really necessary? It seems like you could still do it, particularly in the case of macro bonuses that fully deploy inside smaller bonuses. It's pretty straightforward and intuitive, unless I'm missing something. Possible. Yeah, so there are cases where it might be intuitive, like if you say that, particularly in the case of macro bonuses, but in order for it to work, it would have to work in all cases. And there are weird cases that you could come up, like if you had a bonus that has territories A, B, and C, and another bonus that has territories B, C, and D, you end up with really weird scenarios. Like, let's say you have a +3 bonus and a +3 bonus that have territories A, B, and C. If the player clicks on, well, let's just simplify it. If you have a +3 bonus that encompasses territories A and B, and a +3 bonuses that encompasses territories B and C, if the user clicks on territory B to deploy an army there, Warzone needs to know which bonus to take those armies from. And there's really not a great solution to this problem. Because if it just picks one, like if it picks the top bonus, then later on you try to deploy to C. Wait, no, I have that right? No, later on you try to deploy to A, because you intended to deploy those armies to the bottom bonus, and then it doesn't let you deploy them. And then you're like, oh crap, how do I fix this? And it's kind of actually a UI problem, because when you're deploying, then you need to have some way to like take them out of one bonus and assign them to the other, which is kind of a weird UI thing. Like, one way of solving this is you could ask the player every time they deploy an army that's conflicted. They could be like, well, which bonus are you deploying to? And that's really annoying. I don't think that's a good UI experience. In my opinion, I don't think that's a good experience, so I didn't do it that way. Another option is you could just guess. So like, you could just deploy them to one bonus, and then if they start deploying to A and there's a way to fix it, you could silently fix it. Like, you could just take them out of, as you, like, if you deploy all your armies to B and then you start clicking on A, it could be like, oh, I can shift this army internally from the top bonus to the bottom bonus. That's how I wanted to solve this problem, and I actually started trying to do that, and unfortunately I just couldn't get it working. I had a lot of bugs, and it was just weird, and I don't know. Honestly, I just kind of failed at implementing that. Like, I tried, but I ran into lots of bugs, and I couldn't get it working, so I'm just like, whatever. I'll just make it so overlapping bonuses don't count. And I understand your situation. You're talking about the situation where you have one bonus that fully envelops a smaller one. That one is easier because you can just always deploy to the smaller one first. But it's not currently implemented. If you would like to see, it's also really hard to tell a player, okay, some maps work and other maps don't. Because then what I'm trying to say is, if you allow only maps where bonuses are fully encased inside other ones, then it becomes hard for a game creator to know which maps are allowed to be used in local deployment and which are not, and how to fix that problem. But it's solvable. It is something that's solvable. So if that's something you would like to see fixed, you can post it to the feature request forum. Any chance of tidying up feature requests? I did a feature request for this, but it seems to be lost in the long list of feature requests. I'm not sure what you mean by tidying up. Mostly feature requests are made by the community. So the people who make them are responsible for making them logical and explaining what they mean in the feature requests and writing a good subject line. If there's a really, really bad one, sometimes I do edit the subject lines when I disagree with what they put in there, and I think I can make it clearer. But other than that, it's the community's responsibility to make it tidy. I found a Warzone West Coast IPA online. No, it is not mine. Talking about beer? I'm convinced that non-centric overlapping bonuses are a bad idea for local deployment. I think macro deployments are pretty straightforward. Sure, it's fair. You added numbers in the orders list, but the numbers are not shown in the attack or transfer. When we reselect an order on the map? When we reselect an order on the map, do you plan to add it to help sort orders? I'm not sure what you mean when you reselect an order. Oh, you're talking about like in the attack transfer dialog? If you're talking about in the attack dialog, like you want the number displayed here, is that what you're talking about? If that's the case, you could add that to the feature request form. Seems maybe someone could get use out of it. I'm not sure exactly what the use case for that would be, but maybe somebody can. So then we have some bug fixes here. I'll go over these quickly because they're just like little things. Someone submitted a bug to me that the armies per turn was wrong when they're overlapped in a very specific situation. That was only if you are in the lobby of a game and you click on settings and then full settings and view map. If there was an overridden bonus, it would be wrong on this page. So that's fixed. YouTube exported videos had a little bug I fixed. YouTube export videos, sometimes the names would be blank in 3v3s. I fixed that. The AI would try to move its commander. So one thing that mod developers ran into is if they gave someone a commander on a neutral territory, which is a really weird scenario, but it can happen with mods. It would be really weird for your commander to be on a neutral territory, because then you can't move it, because you can't issue attacks from neutrals. But it can happen. Maybe a mod for some reason really wants to do that. And there was a bug that if you did that to an AI player, the AI would just crash because the AI wasn't coded to handle its commander being on a neutral territory. And it would be like, oh no, my commander's being threatened. I need to run it away. So it would try to move it. And then you can't issue an attack from a neutral. So it would get an error. So that's fixed. The AI will just no longer try to move it if it's on neutral. Small bug with mods. Mods can now override the income on the first turn of a game. That's something that they could not do before. Special commanders on neutrals is fixed. It works now. I have a mod that does it and will make sense when you see it. Okay, I'm excited to see that mod. Commanders on neutrals. So but if your commander's on a neutral and somebody comes along and kills it, you're still eliminated. And you can't defend it because it's on a neutral. Okay, I'll wait to see what you do. I bet there's a lot of great ideas in the feature request form that people haven't seen. How do we convince people to actually take the time to look through them and upvote good ones? Well, I can announce it on stream right now. Hey everyone, go look at the feature request form and upvote the good ones. There we go. Problem solved. There was just a small bug with YouTube export that if you were at your limit on YouTube, you would get a generic error, but now it tells you why. You can't do it. The open groups page no longer filter groups you're already in. This is really just a confusion thing. Like if you made an open group and then go to the open groups page, you'd be like, what the heck, my group isn't here. Why not? And the answer was because you were already in it, which I don't think is appropriate because then it's just you're confused. You're confused about why your open group isn't actually open. So it no longer hides groups that you're already in. Map of the week. Okay, so let's talk about map of the week. Some people have asked me about why map of the week was retired. We used to have this feature called map of the week, where every week one map, we'd vote on maps. This had run for 10 years. We can see it was on week 520. I think 10 years was a pretty good run. There were some flaws with the map of the week implementation. So the way it worked was 5 maps were picked every week. One of the maps was the highest voted map that was created during the previous week. One of the maps that were on the list was the second highest vote getter from the previous week. And then the other 3 were just nominations. People could nominate maps to be the other 3. And the way it worked was once you win map of the week, you can never be nominated again. You will never be on map of the week again. If you got second place, like this one did this week, it would have been in the next week automatically. And then the other 3 that lost were also out. Basically, they could never be in map of the week again. And what that meant is that 4 maps every week were basically be eliminated from the map pool. Which means over 10 years, we eliminated, what is that? 520 times 4. 2,000 maps were no longer eligible for map of the week. Well, we only have 2,800 public maps. So that means that we were down to only 800 left, which means eventually we would completely run out under the old implementation. So at some point, I think that a map of the week had to end. Now I would like to replace map of the week with something better, maybe a new map of the week with different mechanics. If anyone has any ideas for how map of the week should work, feel free to make some suggestions. I would be interested in relaunching it under an improved format, because I do think it's a cool thing. It just kind of ran its course. I think 10 years was plenty. 10 years is a very good run. But I do think it had to end at some point. So I think the 10-year mark seemed like a good time to do it. Maybe it wasn't clear. There are 293 feature requests. Are these really all live? Yes. All the feature requests are live. Well, let me verify your numbers. So there are 293 uncompleted map requests, or feature requests. And then there are another 42 that have been done, and there are 24 that have been declined. So of the 293 that are live, yes, those are all really live. I suspect from the discussions we can probably remove 80 to 90% of them very easily. I mean, somebody took a lot of time to come on here and write this up. I would not suspect that we should remove 80 to 90% of them. I don't know by what logic you are using to determine that we should remove 90% of them. I mean, somebody came in here and spent a lot of time to like write up a feature request, like search by country. Why should that be removed? I don't understand. The only time I would decline something if I know for sure I would never do it. And that's already the case. But of these 293, I feel like most of these could be done. Sometimes there's a fringe idea that comes up and I'm like, I don't really like the idea, but I'm like, well, if this got 1,000 votes, if 1,000 people voted on this, would I do it? Maybe. So in that case, I don't decline it. You guys can tell me what your opinion is of that. If there's a feature request that I just don't like, and I feel like it would be unlikely that I would do, but I would only do if it got a crap ton of votes, should I decline that or should I leave it up? Because I'm of the opinion I should leave it up because maybe it will get 1,000 votes. How do I know? If I decline it, it never has a chance because then people can't vote on it. So I'm of the opinion that I should leave it up and just see how many votes it gets. Give people a chance. FYI, people, one time I made a feature request that I thought was a long shot volume slider for in-game beeps, and Fizzer just noticed and implemented it immediately. Like, I don't think 24 hours passed. That does happen sometimes. I see a feature request and I'm like, that's a great idea. And I don't even care how many votes it gets. I'm just like, I'm going to do that. Like if you go to completed ideas and sort by most votes, go to the bottom, there's some in here that got very low number of votes, but got done. Like make custom game maps sortable by win-loss rate. Maybe that's not a good example. Like search the forum via the app. I think a search feature was useful. Search template when created tournament. Auto announce mods becoming public. I'm like, yeah, when a mod goes public, it should be announced in the chat room. So I just did it, even though it only got 1 vote by a deleted account. I'm like, that's a good idea. Let's just do it. Of course, that was an easy one, but yeah, it does happen. Next Clan Wars is at 1 o'clock. Map of the week should just be permanently small Earth. It can be different variants, but always small Earth. All right. Good suggestions. Good suggestions. We'll see how many people vote on that. Go ahead and create it on the feature request forum. Either the most used templates to the maps in map of the week would be very nice. You can see that now. If you go to any map, you can see the most used templates. Like here. Maybe we should have a template of the week. I don't know. Would that work? It's kind of hard to evaluate a template though. Like when you see a template, unless you've actually played it before, you'd be like, I don't know. How do people are just going to vote on like the one template they know? Like at least a map, you can open it up and look at it and like evaluate how much you like the map. Same for loads of them. It's a mess. Maybe add a new category, mod concept or something for feature requests that should be implemented as a mod first. There's some requests that they're possible with a mod. Yeah, so generally my philosophy on feature requests is if it's possible with a mod, then it shouldn't be a feature request. Feature requests are specifically geared towards like what you want me to do personally. Or at least the Warzone development team. Maybe later we have more developers, but for now it's just me. For mod requests, we could have a mod request forum or something like that, like a duplicate of this aimed towards the mod developers. But you copy and paste this forum into a mod request forum. That's something that could exist. You could create a feature request to create a mod request forum. Thanks for creating a great game. Community is impressive. Some very creative and nice people. I would definitely be supporting with a membership when I'm able to. Awesome. I'm glad you enjoy the game. Thank you for your kind words. Thanks for considering supporting the game. Okay. So that's map of the week. Multiple idle tabs, just a little bug fix. There was a new feature a couple updates ago, or maybe last update, where you could set your startup page to be idle. If you did that, there was a bug where it would allow you to create multiple tabs of idle, which would screw things up, so that bug is fixed. Oh, the Army Camp Boost artifact. This is a bug somebody reported to me. That so the Army Camp Boost artifact will get automatically swapped in with the artifact swapper which makes sense to swap it in because it increases the size of your drafts. Sorry, I didn't complete that sentence. It gets swapped in when you draft. And it makes sense to swap it in when you draft because it should increase the size of your drafts. Unfortunately, prior to this update, that wasn't working. It would swap it in, but then it wouldn't actually increase the size of your drafts. And the reason was there is a complicated system of where it measures your armies per second. And drafts are based on your armies per second, but the army can't boost, wouldn't increase your armies per second right away. Basically, it would take a second for the new number to be registered before it affected drafts. So that's why the bug happened. But it's fixed now. So it will affect your armies per second immediately when swapped in. We need an official mod community. Sure, I'll let you guys organize that. Little bug where it calls rare artifacts epic in one place. Little bug with the hide lottery game thing. Babylon. Let's talk about Babylon. Most people probably don't even know what Babylon is. This is something that was added several updates ago. This is specifically a website feature, and it's kind of a hidden feature. Oh crap. Ah crap, what's that page called? So there's a little hidden page called Change Experimental Settings. If you go to warzone.com/change experimental settings. It's not linked to from anywhere, so this is kind of a secret page. But if you do come to this page, there's this setting you can enable called 3D maps on the website. And you turn this setting on. I already had it on. But if you turn that on, there's a whole new rendering engine that you can play the game with. So when you do that, you get this. This is what's called Babylon. It's because it's a framework called Babylon.js. And this is a WebGL thing. And your whole game runs in Babylon. And it is pretty cool in my opinion. And in fact, it's a lot better now. So if you've tried this in the past, I would ask you to try it again. Because in the latest update, I fixed a major performance problem in it. So it is much faster now. It used to be slow. But you can see this is like a 3D... You can see the map is like a little bit 3D. Let's show it off on a better looking map. Let's go to a past game. Yeah, like Small Earth. So here we go. This is a better looking map. So you can see it does look nicer. It's just a graphics improvement. It doesn't change anything about the gameplay. But yeah, that's a cool thing that exists. If you do try it out, please let me know what you thought of it in this recent update. If you have any problems with it, I'm interested to hear about that. I'll show off a couple cool features you can do. If you go to the level viewer, there's this new button here called Free Camera. If you check that button, you can like zoom and fly around in 3 dimensions. This is something you can't do on the 2D version, obviously, because it's 2D. But on the 3D version, you can examine things from any direction. Just a little thing if you're interested in that. It's a thing you can do. Mods for single player levels. Currently, so if you're playing a single player custom game, you can do mods. If you are talking about community levels, they currently do not support mods. Another thing I'll show off with Babylon, since we're talking about it. So the 3D thing I talked about here, this free camera box is only in the map preview page, so you can preview any map from any direction. But if you're in a production game like this, if you're in an actual game, there's no button for free camera, but there is a way to do it. If you go to the development console by pressing F12 of your browser, this is something I've never talked about before. Nobody knows this. So it's a secret. Keep it between you and me. There's this function you can execute. I know this is really small. You probably can't see it on Twitch. But if you type, if you type debug_baby with a capital B, that's a function. It's short for debug Babylon. And then you pass it true, true. That'll put you into Babylon debug mode. In Babylon debug mode, you can fly the camera around. Nobody's ever seen this. This is hot off the presses. And you can actually do it in a production game, and you can see like the arrows. You can see they like curve and stuff, which you may not have even known if because you normally just see it from above. But yeah, it's a thing you can do. Also in Babylon debug mode, you get all these additional UI where you can come in here and muck with stuff if you really want to. If you want to be like, I want to turn off Norway. I want to turn off I want to turn off, what is that, Venezuela? Oh crap, geography test. I want to turn off Iceland. You can be like, I want to see what's underneath Iceland. You can see that yellow line. Look, you could normally never see that yellow line. In debug mode, you can. Isn't that cool? Here's a feature request. Hold on, did I miss anything? Template of the week would require its own system to encourage playtesting and visibility. Probably merge with the quick match voting system. Could be interesting to use the winner as idle power tournament. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I like the way you think. I think there's potential for doing something like that. I don't know exactly how that would work, but like if you play all the templates through quick match and then get a chance to vote on them. Maybe we could do like a side-by-side voting where you're given 2 templates. You're given a game on each of them, and then you pick which one of the 2 you liked more. And then over time, we can kind of tell which templates are best. Something like that. Mods for single player. Oh yeah, we talked about that. Feature of the week, just like map of the week. Pick one at random. Put it up on the sidebar. Oh, feature request of the week. Yeah, that would be interesting. I'm not sure how to do that in a way that's fair, because whichever one you pick is going to get more votes because it's being more promoted. And the problem with that is you're kind of skewing the view of which features people really want the most, if that makes sense. Like, having all of these be equal means I can compare. Like, this one has 116 votes, and this one has 52 votes. So I can kind of tell twice as many people want this than this. But if you're promoting some feature requests more than others, that kind of skews it, and it kind of actually skews the numbers, so I can't actually tell. I don't get an accurate picture of how much people want something. So it's actually kind of bad. When is Smoky Black going on sale? No, I don't know. Is there a sale for Smoky Black? I can't even remember. Need a Bounce, thanks for doing this and all you do for the game. You're welcome. Glad you enjoy the game. Community levels mods would be a great way to get people into mods. Yeah, so the deal with community level mods, it is something I would like to do, but we need to figure out a way to do it that's fair. Because one of the properties of community levels is they need to always be beatable. I don't want to have a level on the community levels page that's impossible to beat. I think that's a bad experience for people. Because I know there's some people that like making really hard levels. And there's a challenge that goes on where it's like the level creator wants to make a level that's right up near the edge of what's possible. So that other people, the level creator has to be able to beat it to publish the level. So that's how you ensure every level is possible. But then you don't want to have a level that's actually impossible. And with mods, you could have a level that's impossible. Because the mod could change. Somebody could make a level with a mod of one version, and then the mod updates, and something changes, and it becomes impossible. Or you could just have really stupid mods that require you to like attack territories in a very specific order. It's like a password level where nobody will ever have a chance at winning. But I guess you could look at the mod code, figure it out. You could have a mod that says you can only win if your name is Just a Dutchman. Any other name can't win. Like, you get a bunch of extra armies if your name is Just a Dutchman, which would be dumb. That'd be a really stupid mod. So, and it would be unwinnable by anyone else. So we need to find a way to make sure that doesn't happen. But if there could be a way to make it foolproof and reliable, then yeah, I would be interested in putting mods into custom community levels. Why me? Because you were the one talking in Twitch chat when I said that sentence. I know you would never do that. Cool. So that's Babylon. We talked about that. That's everything from the update. So next I'm going to go over all the questions that people asked in this forum thread. And then that'll be the end of the stream. But we got a couple pages to go. So we got a bunch of stuff to do. Can you add any undocumented things to game order play card custom? So this is a mod question. I made that page myself after someone printed the proxy type. I assume there is a game order play custom to create. I think there is not a create function. I think you might have actually created it perfectly. So good job. Most of the time, so the way you actually play custom cards is through the play card panel. When you actually click play on a card, it will pop up a play card panel. which when you click play, it creates the game, the custom play card order. Now, maybe there is actually a reason we should have a create function, because maybe a mod wants to play a custom card itself. That's actually a reasonable thing. I didn't think about that. But if you guys would like to see that, you can add a feature request for it. And if it does get created, I will add it to the wiki. But right now it doesn't exist. So I think the wiki is accurate. It'd be handy to have an undo button on idle. Yeah, I do see why that would be handy. It's also a little bit exploitable. Like you could explore somewhere and then be like, oh no, the thing I'm looking for isn't over there. Let me undo and go a different direction. It would make more sense if players received a new feature request vote allocations each month. There are a lot of good ideas, but they would never be implemented or declined. The votes are tied up in old ideas, which we still want, and thus can't allocate votes. So the problem with getting a new vote every month is it just causes inflation. Over time, votes go up and up and up, and it's not an accurate reflection of what people really want. And I understand your votes are tied up in things that you want, and you want to vote on new things. But the reality is, right now you can vote on what, like 3 or 4 items? I mean, you could vote on 10 different items with 1 vote each, or 11. But if you put 3 votes towards an item, if you put your max votes towards an item, 3, which is the max, you could vote on like 3 things, 3 or 4 things. The problem is I can't work on 10 things at once. I'm only picking 1 thing to work on at any point in time. So you really should put your votes on what you want me to most work on. Giving you more votes only dilutes your picture of what you want me to work on. And just to note, you can always take your votes away and move them around. So if you change your mind, if we pull our votes from stale feature requests, it reduces the chance that we'll get implemented. Yeah, but you need to pick what you most want. Pick your top 3 and put your votes into those things. That would be my suggestion to you. Would it be possible to shift frequently used mods to the regular settings? Possibly. It is something I've thought about. I would want it to be a very, very high quality mod. Like, I don't know what like, but yeah, something like that could happen. But also mods are a member feature, so much more structured settings. I find the mod setting really chaotic with more than 100 mods in one list. Well, this is something that should just be fixed on the mod page. And this is something that's going to have to be fixed someday anyway, because as the number of mods go up and up, eventually it would become unusable if there's like 10,000 mods on one big list. So I don't agree with this reason to put it on to move a mod. This is something that just needs to be fixed regardless. Mods will be used more often. Availability for non-member players, and it does not cost coin. Oh, so you're actually asking for the mods to be moved out from membership. I wasn't clear that's what you were asking for, because you just said to move it to regular settings. I assumed it would still be member only. If you're asking it for to not be member only, well, I mean, part of the reason the mods are member only is to sell memberships. So personally, I would love to just get rid of membership and make everything free. But you know, the game costs $1,000 a month to keep alive. The servers cost $1,000 a month, just so that money has to come from somewhere. Mods exist to sell membership, so that's why that is there. To be sure, a new setting previously mod would be completely bug-free combined with other regular settings. Yes, if it was moved, it should be completely bug-free when combined with other regular settings. I agree with that. What kind of tech stack does Warzone use? So Warzone is mostly written in C#, and it uses Unity for the iOS and Android and standalone apps. And then for the servers hosted on the Java Virtual Machine, the JVM. And the database uses Postgres and MongoDB. I think mods should be allowed for single player rather than not at all for non-members. Maybe a member feature to request this. Allow seeing what membership does. Yeah, so there's a trial. There's one mod that is free for non-members, the Swap Picks mod. I would be open to maybe having more mods on that list of the free ones. That's just kind of like a sneak preview to help people know what mods do. Maybe someday we'll add some more there. Other than that, there's also the ability for members to create a multiplayer game that allows non-members to join it. That's another way that non-members can find out what mods do. I think that's enough in my opinion. Are there new free cards on the way? By free, you mean not behind a membership? Not at the moment. Again, you can join modded games for free if they're on the Open Games page. Curious why ads run out the idle spinner wheel sometimes. Curious why ads run out on idle spinner wheel sometimes. I'm not sure what you mean by ads running out. Ads are provided by Google. You mean like no ad is available? Is that what the problem is? Ads are provided by Google. They have a whole bunch of reasons why they might not offer you an ad. Seek preview is nice, but could be enhanced. Not sure what seek preview is. Is it possible to announce in each update what kind of new mods are added? Oh, I think that is a good idea. I think somewhere wouldn't be tied to an update specifically, but it would definitely be nice to see recently published mods. Right now they are published in the global chat room, but that's obviously not very usable because if you don't happen to be there the instant it's made public, you won't know. There definitely should be a mods page somewhere that like shows you all the mods, and especially like which ones were published recently, because this is the main page that shows all the mods, and there's no like date on here, and they're not sortable by date. So if a new mod comes out, you probably wouldn't even know, which I agree. That's actually something we should definitely do. I agree that's a high priority. Somebody should add that to the features request forum. Not necessarily just knowing which ones are new, but like a way to browse mods and see and sort them by which ones came out recently. A way to promote recently created mods, something like that. Because you're right, it is hard to keep track of new mods in the big mod list. That's definitely something we need. Maybe we need mod of the week. And yeah, Dan gives you more information that I just said. Will the coins from winning Clan Rumble be just for the players or for the whole clan? They are for the players in the game. We already talked about Map of the Week, so I won't go over that again. On the iOS app, when you sort feature requests by the most recent resolved ones, go to the bottom. You scroll to find the ones that are resolved by the most recent. But would you add a button to reverse any sorting, just like you can sort in filters A to Z? Let me look at this. When you sort feature requests by the most recent resolved ones, go to the bottom. I think it's supposed to be a comma. Go to the bottom, requiring you to scroll to find the ones that are closed or resolved by the most recent update. Oh, I see what you're saying. So if you want to see what was resolved by the most recent update, you would have to change it to either completed or declined, and then you change sort to most recent post or date resolved, which I think somebody pointed out that this is actually buggy. If you sort by date resolved, this isn't accurate maybe? Like this was resolved in 2025. This is resolved 2024. Resolved 2024. Maybe these aren't, maybe that's not working correctly. I think somebody pointed that out to me. So yeah, that should definitely be fixed if it's not working. A button to reverse sorting. Yeah, I could see the desire to have a button to reverse sorting. You can submit that to the feature request forum. I agree that would be useful. Do you have a girlfriend? I am married. What do you think about people using alt accounts in multiplayer games? Is there a way to better prevent this? Yeah, so there are the Warzone rules. We can go over that real fast. Come on. If you go to /wiki/rules, there are rules against operating more than one Warzone account, a way that participates in the same game, tournament, or ladder, clan war, any way it gives you an advantage or gives you points or coins. That is the rule. If you find someone breaking that, you can report them. When you do report them, make sure to include all the evidence you have that points to them being a multiple person, a multi-account. Sometimes people file a report, and all they say is multi-accounting, these two players. And it's like, or sometimes they just say multi-accounting. They don't even tell us who they're talking about. Include all the accounts, include all the evidence you have. That will help the moderators do something. If the moderators don't have enough evidence, they cannot convict. I introduced a buddy of mine to this game years ago, and his girlfriend still reminds me of it angrily to this day. Oh, that message took a very different turn when I read the word angrily. But yeah, thanks for your story. That's funny. Mod of the week. Do we have so many new mods? Is there so many new mods to have a mod of the week? I mean, maybe going forward. Mod of the week doesn't have enough mods. Yeah, maybe not. I don't know. Could maybe be arranged if someone gets me a membership. Someone gets me a membership? Don't you already have a membership? It's buggy also. Okay. Could you do these on different days or times? They always seem to be on Monday at 11. Yeah, so I do them on a weekday around 11, 12 usually, because that's the highest traffic time for this game. Funny story. The highest traffic time is at like noon or 1 p.m. on weekdays. I think that's because people play it from work, which is not really, maybe it's not a good thing that people play it from work, but that is the highest traffic. That is when most people are on. So that's when I choose it. I know, unfortunately, that means people that live overseas or people that don't play it from work can't watch. I apologize for that. I don't think there's a time that includes everyone. I could try varying the times, doing it a bunch of different times to get different people. I could try that maybe. I don't know. But the one thing I do say is I post these forum threads, so even if you're not able to catch the stream, you can ask your question and then come back and watch the answer as I upload these to YouTube at the end. There are free cards on the way. There are lots of cards on the way. Nuke, Pestilence, Isolation, Neutralize, Deneutralize, Earthquake, Tornado, Card Block, Card Pieces, Shield, Monolith, Quicksand. Cool. If I play Neutralize and Deneutralize on the same territory, do they cancel each other out? That's all I want to know. So yes, there are new cards on the way. Cool. A player is playing extremely slow. Will you swing the ban hammer for me? You should boot them. If they're not in the boot time, you should lower the boot time. Play in games with lower boot times. That's generally my advice. If you're worried about the speed of other players. Do I then select the other option to report for multi-accounting? Yes, you can use the other option to report for multi-accounting. Okay. Your birthday is on February 19th? Alright, if I stream on February 19th, I will wish you a happy birthday. Can you sing happy birthday on stream? Yes. Happy birthday, Taki. Any lawsuit updates? I already answered that. Can you add a category to feature requests for planned or accepted as a way of saying you'll work on the requests, but it isn't completed? I'm not sure what the point of doing that would be. I guess the point would be that people can take all their votes and move them out onto something else because they know it's already planned. So first off, I will say that usually if I were to add this, I would only add it to planned or accepted once I've actually finished or at least started working on the feature or know for 100% sure that I'm going to do it, which is going to be pretty close to when it's delivered anyway, because I have a pretty rapid iteration cycle. Unless it's a very large feature that takes like months or years, but those are so rare, I'm not worried about it. I'm not sure there's any point to this because then, like, if you take all your votes and move them to something else, you're not really accomplishing anything because, then it just looks like I'm working on things that have fewer votes. Like the feature, I have a pretty rapid iteration schedule anyway. By the time I start working on a feature, it's usually delivered within a month. So, I'm not sure there's much value in that, to be honest. In the same line of cleanup, could you spend some time and decline all the stuff you can't or won't implement for whatever reasons and clean up the total number of requests? Yeah, so I talked about this earlier. I do decline it. If I see a request that I absolutely will never do, I will mark it as decline. And I've done that for a whole bunch. So that should already be done. especially ones with a couple people spending votes on them. So I don't think it's right to decline something just because only a couple people voted on it, because maybe it will gain more traction in the future. If it's a good idea, it shouldn't be kicked out just because it didn't get traction right away. I don't think that's the right thing to do. There's 291 active ideas at the time of writing, and many votes sitting stagnant or really good or agreeable, so you can't see a reason to decline or not implement at some point. So yeah, I mean, there's literally tens of thousands of ideas I personally have that I would like to do and add to this game, but I can only do one at a time. So I'm like, even just because it's a good idea and it's not getting done now doesn't mean it's never going to get done. Also, I'll point out that there's always going to be a lot more ideas added to the feature request forum than actually implemented. And that's just because of the math. It only takes, minutes to hours to create an idea, where it can take weeks to months for me to implement an idea. Also, there's thousands of people that can create ideas. There's only one person implementing ideas. So there's a significant imbalance there, and there's always going to be a lot more ideas created than actually completed. That's just part of that's just part of the system working normally. So I don't see the 291 ideas sitting there is really a problem. It doesn't seem like a problem to me. Again, love the new stuff. Great work. I'm quite busy these days, but seeing others in the community working hard. Saw someone mention already, but I want to hear your thoughts about the number of mods on the mod list currently. You want to hear my thoughts about the number of mods? I think that there are about 120 mods. That's my thoughts on the number of mods. But yeah, it's great. I think there are a lot of mods, which is good. I think there will be. I know there will be a lot more. I know the mod community is very active, which is great. Feature request by Botsky about cleaning up suggestions. Remove those which are not approved. State and reason why. As I mentioned, that's already done. Combine any duplicate requests into one feature request. If you guys see duplicates, I'm currently not aware of any duplicates, but if you see any duplicates, you can send them to me. And what I'll do is I'll decline one of them and point them at the other one. And tell people to move their votes into the other one. Set a target for 10 live feature requests. I repeat this process monthly. Set a target for live feature requests and repeat this process monthly. Are you talking about completed? Set a target to complete 10? I'm not sure what that means. As a follow-up question, what do we need to do with mods adding new cards? Do we put them in card packs, 2 or more cards in the same mod, or a mod for each card? I generally think it's probably best to do a mod per card. I mean, it depends on if you think mod creators are very commonly going to want to use multiple cards in a pack together. Like if there's cards that make sense to be used together, it probably makes sense to put them in the same mod. But if they're completely different subjects, completely different ideas, I would think it's probably best to put them into 2 different mods. That's kind of up to the mod community for you guys to figure that out. Just because if you put like 10 cards in one mod and the game creator only wants one of them, I mean, they could just turn off all the other 9, I guess, right? So it's probably fine either way. I'm not sure. Finally, is there a chance to allow mods to include other mods into a game once selected? It is not something I'm currently working on. You can get into a lot of complex situations there. Complexity is generally an enemy when you're talking about a software project. So there'd have to be a really compelling reason to take on that complexity. That's just my thoughts on it. The issue with feature requests is that you could never approve most of them. So you could easily remove most of them and it would become much more usable. Sure, but I wouldn't remove it. But why would I remove it though? Because somebody spent the time to write it up and add it. And if it got enough votes, I would do it. So what's the logic for removing it? I only made a pack because it's similar features, sure. Pro for releasing them together. Saves computation time, looping, number of hook invocations. Con for releasing them together. How how to know which mod contains what card. Right. Yeah, no, I agree with that. I have a bug with my Vote to End mod. The problem is that Vote to End is only in multiplayer, so I can't test it in single player. But if I run on a server, you can't see your print statements anywhere. Is there any way and such to debug this issue? Yeah, I realize that's a challenge. One thing you can do is you can write your login into the public mod.public game storage, and then you'll be able to see it on the client. So that's one workaround. How old are you? I'm 42. Do you plan to pass this game to someone else to take care of in due time? Or is there a plan in case of an accident? So I plan to keep working on this the rest of my life. If there's an accident and I suddenly die, Mercer would have to take over. Lawsuit updates? I shared about that already. How much money have you made from Warzone? Annual expense of operations? Any plans to create a new game? So I've already shared that the servers alone cost about $1,000 a month to keep running. I don't share revenue numbers, but plans to create a new game right now. The two games I have, Warzone and Warzone Idle, are keeping me quite busy. And so I'm not currently planning on making a new game. I do sometimes think about making new games. Like I've thought, for fun, sometimes I design new games just like on paper, what I would make if I were to make a new game. I've done it several times. I have design documents for about several new games that I've just been toying around with, but haven't seriously working on any of them. I'm not currently working on a new game. Logic to remove feature requests is because you will not do it if it has enough votes. Sure, if I will not do it, regardless of how many votes it gets, I will remove it. I agree with that, and I already do that. There are loads there you will never approve. Are there? Give me some examples. Give me an example of something that I will never do, no matter how many votes it gets. You might be able to. There might be an example of that I haven't noticed. Remove can clap? That's already been declined. The mod names need to be more descriptive. For example, custom card pack on its own doesn't tell you anything about what the cards contain. Yeah, that's an argument for splitting up cards into different mods, because the name is not as descriptive. Just make sure you differentiate between the versions and the card packs. How do you get into a game? How did you get into game making? What made you decide to make the game? What was the background idea for it? So I've been making video games since I was a kid. I started off making like poker and stuff and QBasic on DOS when I was like 8 years old. And I've always been interested in making video games, mostly because I would play video games and I would have ideas for things that I wanted to see come into reality. So that's what motivated me to start getting into programming and making games myself. And I've made games my whole life. I've always toyed with making games. This game is the first one that I've ever actually released. I made a whole bunch of games throughout my entire life, but then I just started making this game. And when I started making this game, I never thought it would be my full-time job. I thought I would just play a few games with my friends and then move on to something else, just like I had done many, many times before that. But I had so much fun working on this game that I just kept adding to it. And over the years, eventually I quit my job and I started working on it full time. And that's what it's been. Silverlight Flash is all I know, to be honest. So the game did start out in Silverlight, which was it's kind of like Flash, a competitor to Flash, if you don't know what Silverlight is. And then over time, when I realized I was going to make this game my full-time job, I realized I couldn't stay in Silverlight because it was kind of a dying platform. So I moved it to Flash, which at the time was the de facto standard for web-based games. But then Flash also became a dying platform, funny enough. And I had to move it. Now it's just in pure HTML and JavaScript, which is good. That's not going to die. Knock on wood. Hello, I'm sorry if I'm talking about something out of the context of your stream right now, but I'm very mad because a player is using some multi-account, and it's too obvious, and it doesn't matter if I report him. He's still making my games very uncomfortable. It is too obvious. He even had the same account creation date and same nickname. So I don't know why you say it doesn't matter if you report him. Because if he's actually multi-accounting, you report him and you have proof, he will get banned or something. We'll deal with it. So I don't know why you say it doesn't matter if you report him. Adding deduction points to the Essentials mod to modded games. In your opinion, any mod that adds special units that doesn't include Essentials is missing some incredibly useful unit inspector. It gives valuable data about specials. Without this, you have to keep switching between the main game screen, game settings, full settings to review what the specials do, and then sometimes it's not obvious. Yeah, I realize that some mods that use special units, in my opinion, those mods that use special units should do a better job of explaining what the special units do. Like, for example, the mod that I created that uses special units, like the tank mod, it's just worth 10 armies, and it's very simple. Like, you don't need to know all these extra things, whether or not it uses health, whether or not it's visible to all players. I mean, I guess technically you do need to know those things. See that button, Combat Order? To my knowledge, this is the only place in all of Warzone where you can see the order in which damage will be applied to units. That's true. I mean, it's a good point, and it is important to know. I mean, in my original design, I would say that the mods that use special units should expose this data themselves. But currently, if they don't, I agree this is a useful mod. You've recently declined a feature request that asked you to take clan/group chat messages into account when joining raffles, with the rationale that raffles exist to promote the use of global chat. Many people who use clan chat frequently feel as though they are now missing out. So yeah, the point of the raffles and global chat is to reward people who are using global chat. And I understand if you don't use global chat, you feel like you're missing out. I understand you feel like you're missing out, but if you are not keeping global chat alive, then you are not getting the reward. Since chatting in multiple chat can get very tiresome quickly, it's not uncommon for people to feel like raffles are punishing them for using clan instead of global. I mean, you're not being punished, you're just not getting the extra reward. The raffle is there to reward people who are chatting in global chat. If you're not chatting in global chat, you don't get the reward. It's very simple. It's like saying if you don't buy a lottery ticket, you can't win the lottery. And it's like, yeah, it's true. Because you're not buying a lottery ticket, so you can't win the lottery. You can complain about it. You can say, hey, well, but I buy groceries at the grocery store that sells lottery tickets. Shouldn't they just give me lottery tickets for free? Well, no, that's not how it works. Let's see. Why did you change the name from Warzone to Warlight? So Warzone is the sequel to Warlight. I talked about this earlier in the stream, so I'm not going to go over it again. But Warzone is the sequel to Warlight. The game was rewritten from scratch. How would you have a game with 5 mods that all added custom units? How would you know the stats? Well, in theory, the mod that creates the units should tell you the stats. They should tell you how the special units work. May I ask something in private so I don't bother Fizzer anymore? Oh, you're talking to someone else. Would you have 5 menus to look through to find the one you're looking for? I'm not sure I followed this conversation, but that's okay. I think you guys are talking to each other. Most clan chats are dead as well following the change? Because they switched to using public chat? Is that what you're saying? In the last Ask Me Anything, you stated that private games where no one joined from open games, you would not enforce Warzone's rules on. I think what I said is, so let me state my position, is we rely on people to file reports to find people that break Warzone's rules. So if no one reports each other, you're not likely to get in trouble. Now I will say that if you're in public chat, if you're like talking about the global chat room or a public group or the forum, or even public chat of a game, then your chat is visible by the public. So anyone could report you at that point. Although I don't know how they would find you if it's a private game. But in theory, they could type the ID into the query string of the browser and see it, and then report you. But if you're talking in private mail or private chat or team chat that only people there can see, as long as nobody reports you, you're basically not going to get in trouble. Yeah, so you cited a bunch of examples, but yeah, we rely on reports for enforcing the rules. If you don't get reported, you won't get in trouble. Now it's a dangerous game. I still don't recommend you break Warzone's rules, even in private chat, because if the person you're talking to decides to report you, even if it's a joke, you're going to get in trouble for it. But as long as you don't get reported, like, the moderators will never see it. Will you update your Twitch description to remove the reference to user voice? Oh, I didn't realize it did. Yeah, it does. I will remove that. Yes, thank you for pointing that out. User voice doesn't exist anymore, or we don't use it anymore, because they wanted to charge me like $10,000 a year or something crazy like that. Is it posting twice in a row intentional? Oh, that's weird. I don't know why that happened. That's weird. I guess the live stream stopped and started again. That's the only explanation I can think of. Daughters descend on chat now. No. Clan chat seem to be dead because of the lost reward. Global chat is mostly just dots. My clan chat's not dead. I don't know about your clan. X mods, which add all 5 units, means 5 times X units. That means 5 menu/dialogues to look through to check the data stats. I mean, if that's too many, Essentials is currently the only place to check any of this. I mean, my opinion is the mods that create the special units should describe how they work. And it's simple as putting in the description, like, you know, tanks are worth 10 armies and can't be partially damaged. Something like that. Even allows mod creators to add their own custom unit descriptions. Main point, lots of confusion clicking no central view, something Essentials has already created. I know there are some mods out there that are extremely configurable for special units. Like, I've heard of some of them that just allow you to basically change anything, in which case I agree it can become very confusing. I would argue that's probably not a great use of mods. Like, mods should probably be more targeted. Like, the tanks mod just creates a tank. It's 10 armies. Like, it's simple. And not to say that you playing with the super customizable ones is wrong, but it just wouldn't be how I prefer to play personally. Should be an option to invite all friends to a tournament at one time. That used to be possible. And what happened was everybody just spammed everyone. And you would get like 30 tournament invites a day, and you'd just be like overwhelmed, and it kind of became silly. And really what people who were doing this were trying to do is they were trying to create public tournaments using the private tournament system. They're like, I want to create a private tournament, but I want anyone to be able to join. And so they would just spam invites. And that's kind of not the intention. If you want a public tournament, you should use the public tournament button. If you want a private tournament, it means that you want fine-grained control over who you want to invite. So that's kind of how the system is set up now. For clan invites, perhaps to avoid spamming, but I got a friends list, and I only use them to invite everyone to tournaments. Also, if you have won a PvP game, where there should be an option to finish them all with one click instead of finishing off each game one by one. If you have won a player versus player game, there should be an option to finish all with one click. Like when you take your opponent out or they surrender. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Finish all of your... Finishing off each game one by one. I'm not sure what you're talking about. Finish each game. Are you talking about like a lottery games or something like that? Where you just have to like click the game to open it and see if you won or lost? I'm not sure exactly what you're talking about, but you could send me more details in mail if you want. Okay, So that is the last forum post. Let me check Twitch chat, see if any last... I just entered warzone.com/notifications. My browser got stuck in infinite reloading loop because you weren't logged in. Oh, crap. That's not good. I will get that fixed. I have seen that bug before on other pages. And yes, that is something worth fixing. So I'll write that down. Thank you for letting me know about that. I will get that fixed. And yes, there is a report bug page. If you ever do get a bug, feel free to use this page. Report bugs, but I appreciate you letting me know here. All right, so that is the end of the stream. So thank you everyone so much for watching. Hope to see you in the next one. Hope you all have a great week. Bye.